This is a very important video, and it's interesting too, because I didn't think I would have to explain exactly what I'm about to talk about here. But there is a problem going on, and I won't say it's a problem going on in the right, although it is afflicting some people who thought themselves to be on the right. I think here you can see Alex Jones's face kind of says a lot. It sums up a lot. Because this has Alex Jones disturbed, and to many people, they're calling Alex Jones a globalist. They're calling Alex Jones a fake coward or someone who isn't actually on the right. These are the same group of people that took the Elon Musk psyop really to heart. They were fooled by it severely. I'm going to give names. I'm going to give accounts. I am talking about, of course, the people who blame the Jews for everything. I've deliberately stayed away from this topic, not because I'm afraid to talk about it, but because I find it so low IQ. Blaming everything, blaming every problem on one variable is inherently low IQ and necessarily wrong. It's exactly what the left does. Every single thing, according to the left, is as a result of oppression. Oh, something didn't go correctly? Oppression. They didn't get what they want? Oppression. Do you work harder than Elon Musk? Oppression. Is capitalism good? Oppression. They have one answer for everything because in their mind, oppression grants virtue. It doesn't, but that's what Marxism says. The reason I'm talking about this now is because one of the men that I actually looked up to, I've seen just been swallowed whole by this incoherent worldview. And it's so simply and obviously incoherent. It's tragic, and I comment under many of his posts on X saying like, hey, stop hating Elon Musk, he's on your side. It was a leftist psyop. These people, it's really sad because I thought, and maybe I still will, who knows, but I always envision myself going on his podcast even one day when I get bigger. I'm talking about Myron Gaines, half of the Fresh and Fit podcast. I mean, look, people say things that I don't agree with all the time, but Alex Jones sums this up very well. It's an obsession. Just like the left has an obsession on victimhood status. There are certain people that blame every single problem on one variable. It's self-evidently absurd. Before I show you that video, let's start with the video of Alex Jones that needs to come first, the precursor, if you will. I normally wouldn't even feel comfortable putting Alex Jones on my YouTube channel, except that what he's saying here is, I think, reasonable across the board. Even if leftists were to hear what he's about to say, they would find what he's saying reasonable. So he's addressing the psyop of the globalists trying to get elements of MAGA to turn against Elon Musk, because as I said in a video that I released last week, the only thing that they fear is a union between Elon Musk and the America First movement, because Elon Musk symbolizes progress. Elon Musk symbolizes ultimate progressiveness in the truest sense of the word, because innovation built on meritocracy and brutal competence and masculinity and a host of other things, combined with the ultra freedom, America First, manifest destiny, like America people of MAGA cannot be stopped. And most importantly, it shatters the monopoly leftists claimed they had for decades on progress and the proper way of existing in the normie psyche. Alex Jones calls them globalists. I call them Marxists. The globalists are Marxists. And so this is complete vindication, but it's also what's angered those same accounts that blame everything on the Jews, and they're going after Alex Jones of all people for, I mean, it's truly bizarre stuff. And I wouldn't be talking about this if one of the guys that I looked up to, Myron, hadn't fallen for this so brutally. So this is Alex Jones responding to those people who fell for the psyop and who I mentioned earlier that are hating on Elon Musk for no reason and saying Alex Jones sold out to the globalists who he has literally been fighting all of his life, has risked going to jail, losing his business, and has paid so many penalties for going to war with.
What the hell? And he's exposing Jeffrey Epstein and the CIA. Hell, last week he put out tweets about the CIA at war with America. God almighty, Jones sold out retweeting that. God, I apologize to all of you. I'm sorry. I sold out. I tried to stop the pedophile rings, the giant Muslim kidnapping rings. I'm sorry. I kissed Elon Musk's ass. We're so close to getting the globalists. I want their throat. I want victory. And now you can see it. And you guys think you're going to harass Elon Musk and push him off of supporting Trump and divide Trump and Elon? You're not. We have already beaten your ass.
And you know who he's talking to right there? He's talking to the globalists, because they are the ones behind the psyop trying to get elements of MAGA to turn on Elon Musk, so that that teaming up that I mentioned earlier doesn't happen, because that's what they're ultimately afraid of. And I've explained this to Myron. I even know he saw my video explaining this, because he replied to it, complaining in the very low resolution about H-1B visas. Like, dude, that's less than 85,000 people. We've had more than 20 million people across the border. That's not the issue. Like 85,000 immigrants with college degrees coming across the border is not the issue. It's the undocumented, illegal, violent gangs that have been coming across and basically an invasion. Not even that was the point of the video. The point of the video that he replied to was that he fell for a psyop. The psyop Alex Jones is addressing here. The psyop that the globalists wanted people to fall for. And all of these same people that fell for this psyop from the globalists are obsessed with the Jews. It makes no sense. Full transparency, I'm not even Jewish. I am white, a little bit Native American, and a little bit Mexican. But these people think that they are somehow representative of the right when Donald Trump is in agreement with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is in agreement with Donald Trump, and we have Alex Jones. Bro, if you're saying Alex Jones sold out to the globalists, what are you even doing? What are you even doing with your life? Think about that. You could be learning how to play soccer. You could be learning how to play table tennis. You could even be learning pickleball. Yes, it's a little bit gay. But you're saying Alex Jones sold out to the globalists? Brother, I think I'm just going to show you this next video of Alex Jones addressing these people, because this situation is very interesting, and it's tragic that one of the men that I looked up to, as he's taught me a lot about intersexual dynamics through his show on dating. Then there was a super weird pivot from a guy who ran a dating show and to basically nonstop talking about the Jews. It's like it's sort of like he thought he discovered what I discovered when I was 16, except that I discovered the world is being attacked by the ultimate resentment of Marxism. And in order to fully understand that, I had to spend thousands of hours studying psychology and philosophy, which is exactly what I did, so that I could understand all the variables at play, so that I could understand the inner workings and architecture of the left-wing ideology in depth, as well as how it affects people psychologically. But what Myron did is he was just like, okay, I see this massive problem is very complex, and I'm not trying to attack Myron's IQ, but, it's probably around 120. And what he did instead of what I did was he saw all that, and as all people do, they wanted a theory to explain everything, and then he was just like, the Jews. It's a complete failure. And one word I would use to describe what I've seen coming from him is sad. It's sad to see. Sorry, I'm going to show you this one. Dude, when I saw this thing, I got to show this to you. I replied underneath it because I was like, dude, what is this? Like, this was the moment when I realized there was a really big issue. He tweeted, "Want to see a man's character? Give him power. Now we are seeing the real Elon." Dude, are you mentally disabled? Elon Musk has had the most amount of power of any man alive besides the President of the United States and Putin for probably close to a decade now. And your fringe, incoherent belief set is not represented by the leading ultra-competent figureheads of the right. You're throwing a tantrum. Then later he tweeted this, something I was very shocked to see, because I wouldn't expect a guy like this to say something without thinking. He tweeted, "Billionaires by definition are globalists. Who's he fooling?" He's replying to Alex Jones here. You can't be a globalist and American nationalist at the same time. Let's play some trivia here. I'll go with, who is Donald Trump? Literally a billionaire and literally the origination of America first. Back to the Alex Jones video.
And none of this is real, and they're not trying to shut down InfoWars, and I won't stand up for these people. And one of them I know, there was two guys on the show, and the other one I've seen and know he's a fighter, MMA and stuff. I mean, I've seen a lot of his stuff, but don't really know much about him, because usually
it's gotten to the point where we have to acknowledge that the people that have fallen for this psyop are the lowest IQ elements of the right, but they actually weren't a part of the right. They just considered themselves a part of the right, and recently discovered as the most competent men of the right, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Alex Jones, etc., are actually all in agreement and say, yeah, we're not concerned about H-1B, 85,000 immigrants coming here with bachelor degrees. It's nothing. We need to deport the illegal aliens that came across. The numbers in excess of 20 million, which is, let's see, 200 times greater than that problem, more than that. But really what it is that these guys aren't obsessed with the Jews.
You know, what he's saying, it just gets old. It's about Jews all day. And I'm just like, oh, more Jew stuff. Let me move on to the next thing. And it's just, but I'm supposed to know everything about these people. And again, it's not about.
It's as if they think they've discovered the answer to every problem the world has ever seen, except that it's not. Because one variable doesn't explain an entire system, especially a complex system. It's exactly what the left does. Oh my gosh, everything's oppression. Oh my gosh, everything's the Jews. Like, no, it's not, because that's mentally inadequate. Try studying psychology or philosophy, even for 5 minutes. See what you discover. It's kind of interesting. You learn things about the actual world and why things are the way they are.
Them. I'm not bringing these people up to get to fight with them or anything. I'm bringing it up about how crazy this is. And I do get Elon's point about this new earpiece itching, is that is, from my perspective, I'm not saying censor you for it, it is negative when you read something and it's some weird infighting thing.
Right.
And you don't even really know what it is. I've always tried to make my broadcast about things that people generally understand, and then I can bring in some terms and try to walk people into a more complex issue.
Same here. The problem is they just talk about anything and say it's the Jews, which is completely failed, and it also preys on the psyches of people who want that quick solution to every problem. But it's very ugly and low resolution to any person who knows anything about any topic in depth. Let's take the left, for example. If you're talking about leftist tendencies and then you say all of this is as a result of those people, to a person, let's say like Jordan Peterson, who spent north of 10,000 hours studying the intricacies of Marxist ideology and understands the originating variables of it going back hundreds of years, how cringe and absurd do you think that sounds to him? Or if somebody's dedicated their life to playing basketball and you just say, yeah, the reason every single team loses a game is because of Kylie Jenner. It's like, no, that makes no sense. Of course that's wrong, because you know so much about the basketball teams, the strategies, the strengths and weaknesses of different players. Could you find an instance of like one game, one team where you could argue maybe Kylie Jenner was sleeping with a player and that's the reason he missed one shot in one game? Yes. But then it's like that person thinks they know everything about basketball now. That makes you delusional to then go and watch every single basketball game and be like, oh, Kylie Jenner's the reason this team lost. Like, she doesn't even know that team. What are you saying? No, but you don't understand. This player who's friends with this other player once dated Kylie Jenner, and they were talking because we have the phone records of how they were talking. And it's like, maybe she's conspired to rig the game. It's like, or maybe you just don't know what you're talking about at all because you haven't studied basketball. Back to Alex Jones, who is the reasonable guy in the room compared to these people.
I've always tried to make my broadcast about things that people generally understand, and then I can bring in some terms and try to walk people into a more complex issue.
Right.
But I'll be sitting there all the time. You know, I'll be reading something and I'll be like, what does that mean? It'll say something. It's like, oh, I'm surprised Alex is on air on Saturday wearing his little hat. And I'll go, what?
Right.
Little hat Saturday.
Exactly. I've seen that shit before, bro. They're like, these people are crazy. I don't know how they've convinced themselves that Elon Musk, the world's most competent man, is wrong, and they've cracked the code. It's like Revenge of the Average IQ, except most average IQ people don't even fall for this. You know?
Oh, Orthodox Jews don't work on Saturday and they wear little hats. And it's like, dude, you're obsessed with Jews.
Right.
And look, talk about them all day. Just say the word over and over again. If it makes you have orgasms. But my point is that I'm not Jewish. Right. And I'm an Anglo-Saxon Protestant. And I don't hate Jews or anything. I just like, dude, you're obsessed, man.
Exactly. It's really, the word weird isn't sufficient. It's sad. And it became sad for me when Myron fell for this super hard because what it means is this insufficient worldview is taking the place of where actual thoughts and understandings of reality would normally blossom and reside, meaning that he is preventing himself, just as leftists prevent themselves from understanding actual reality when they tell themselves everything is as a result of oppression and there is nothing but victimhood, and so they cut out logic, reason, rationality, objective morality, individualism, meritocracy, basically all the pillars of life. They cut that out of their life and say, I'm now incapable of ever engaging with that. It's sad to see someone do the exact same thing, but just with this random other issue. It's so twisted and bizarre.
Man, I mean, I'm obsessed with freedom and my family and liberty and technology and ideas and engineering and art and literature and music and culture.
Right.
And
then they're obsessed with this tribe of people that wear funny hats. Like,
it's the same thing, like reading what the radical Muslims say. It's all their own gibberish and all their own little weird world. And I'm just like, ugh. Right. So I just don't.
That's true.
I don't interface with you. You're not like me, which is fine.
Exactly. You're not interested in understanding the world. So admit that. But they think that they are. They think that every single problem in the world is derivative of one issue. And we should take a moment here to acknowledge all the masculine heroes that didn't fall for this, such as Elon Musk, such as Donald Trump, such as Andrew Tate. In terms of a guy that I looked up to, Myron Gaines was pretty far down on the list. I guess technically, if you were to really average it out, he's the least competent, which is an interesting coincidence. But this is a sickness, and I'm not coming at it from the angle of because it's oppressing people. I'm coming at it from the angle of this is preventing you from understanding the world the way it actually is, because you have a univariable explanation for everything that is by definition insufficient because it's univariable. Try studying psychology, philosophy, any field in depth for 10 minutes. You will get a better understanding after 10 minutes on YouTube watching the right people than blaming every leftist, globalist agenda on a tribe of people.
If you're a black supremacist and hate everybody unless they're black, fine, you're superior. If you're Jewish and think you're superior to everybody, that you're allowed to think that and believe that. I don't think it's true. If you're one of these people that loves Hitler, as long as you don't try to implement mass, war and stuff and the rest of it, that's your issue.
Right. Really, technically, it is your issue.
Thing is, I am into the knowledge of the world and the knowledge of the universe and this great, incredible experience that we're all part of.
Exactly.
And it never helps to try to talk to any of these people. You can't talk to a black Israelite.
Exactly. It's like talking to a BLM person with like, everything's oppression. We're oppressed. It's like, so what do you think about astronomy? Well, black people are oppressed. Okay, so the univariable explanation takes the place of where actual knowledge would reside and cultivate.
I've tried on the street and on air. You can't talk to a white supremacist. If you're talking to some weird, Jewish sect that thinks everybody else should be killed that's not Jewish or whatever, then you're not going to convince those people.
Right, it's identitarianism. It's not even the right's version of identitarianism, because these people who are obsessed have discovered that everyone on the right disagrees with them. That's fueling a lot of their outrage. But they're preying on the weakest minded people who just want a non-understanding univariable answer to everything, just like a leftist wants the univariable answer of I'm oppressed to literally every problem without understanding a shred of any field of study.
And so I've seen it so much. It's kind of like I'm walking through the park and I see a big steaming pile of dog shit.
Dude, Alex Jones is really funny.
You can't talk to a white supremacist.
Right.
If you're talking to some weird,
it's true,
Jewish sect that thinks everybody else should be killed that's not Jewish or whatever, then you're not going to convince those people. And so I've seen it so much. It's kind of like I'm walking through the park and I see a big steaming pile of dog shit.
And I'm not even sure if these people are capable of hearing logical, reasoned arguments anymore. And I wish I'd recognized this sooner, because then I might be able to have recorded this video sooner. But at this point, these people who are obsessed and have equally had their minds castrated by their univariable obsession, they might inevitably slander anything that I'm going to say, or even me personally, just like a leftist would, because they can't contend with actual ideas, actual knowledge, or reason, logic, rationality. Because by default, it would threaten their univariable explanation of everything. But if maybe one of the followers that is looking at this cult, and that's what it is, this cult of obsession and anti-intellectualism that will totally stunt your growth, I would say to you, understanding the world is much better. Knowing the truth is much more fulfilling than believing a lie. And just look to the most impressive men in the world. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, the leaders of the movement which you so desperately want to be a part of, are all showing you how it's done. And a lot of these freaks who thought that they were on our team have just discovered that they're not. And unfortunately, it's sad and brutal to say, but that's just due to their own incompetence and choices. It's not because we have earpieces. It's not because we have, a narrative to fulfill. Alex Jones literally said, I'm Anglo-Saxon and Catholic. I am white and Native American. These people would try to slander us in the same way a leftist would try to slander a person for being an oppressor if you were to disagree with them. It's all tiresome and really pathetic. And again, it's great to be vindicated by some of the smartest people on the right about this psyop, because make no mistake about it, guys, our enemies are those who resent civilization, and those people are the Marxists. They are the globalists, and they're the ones behind trying to manipulate people on the right to distancing themselves with the ultra bright, optimistic vision of the future that involves what Elon Musk is doing, taking us to other planets, improving the state of humanity, because that is true progressiveness. That is truly making the world better. And that takes away the monopoly that they, the globalists, claim to have and have claimed to have for decades. And sadly, these people are victims of that psyop, and we just saw it go down in history. We saw it happen. Some people fell for it. Some people probably will have unrecoverably been psychologically damaged by it, and that's a shame. But similarly, those who have not been corrupted can recognize what went down, see how it happened, and be fortified against this in the future. If you're one of those people, leave a comment under this video, because it'll help me balance out the hate that I'm inevitably going to get by speaking the truth against these deranged people. And the last thing I'll say is, if you are calling Alex Jones a globalist or saying that, like, he's wearing a mask or he has an earpiece in, you are not a part of our movement. You're a freak. You're insane. You're not on Team Trump. You're not on Team Elon. You're not on Team Alex Jones. You're on a team that is so insanely, radically fringe, it is equivalently degenerate to a leftist. Because identitarianism is inherently degenerate. Subscribe to the channel, guys. And if you want to support what I'm doing since we're demonetized, go to abrahambier.locals.com. It's linked in the description. Click it, scroll down, press become a member. For less than the price of a coffee, it really does make a difference. I appreciate all of you. Follow me on X as well. Like my tweets. We have to start to replace some of these people who've gone astray. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next video. This is an important one.